I've spent hours researching ring lights that will attach to the end because I'm sick of clamping that thing on and off. The microphone, in terms of having to wear one and put a receiver and all the other things, I just want a microphone plugged in there permanently. Obviously the iPhone microphone is not good enough. I'm gonna get another one from Boya. I've ordered it. It's about 36 bucks Australian. Plugs in the end into the lightning connector because I've got an old phone, lightning. Boom, sticks out this way, and hopefully that's just like a shotgun mic coming straight out of the phone using the phone's power, so it shouldn't be a problem. There's no pass-through, like I'll remove it to charge the phone, but I also mostly charge my phone using wireless charging. In the car, that's not good because you have to go down to a plank and then the phone can't have the microphone plugged in, and I often have ideas for songs and so on. So if I want to do that because the microphone built into the iPhone is shockingly bad. Also, the Boya microphones during phone calls does not work. I thought this would be good. Maybe I can get some really clear microphone, you know, hands-free speakerphone because I can hear somebody else speaking to me, but you know, the speakerphone microphone usually is pretty shit compared to holding it to your face or wearing, you know, AirPods. So that didn't work. I had to go to the AirPods. Fucking tired. So much misinformation and lack of information when it comes to connectors on, say, for example, ring lights. Nobody ever shows you the underside and how it connects to things. And also with the rotation of things, they don't even tell you if it's got teeth that lock and prevent frictional rotation. All this information is fucking missing, and Amazon's the worst. You know, they don't show you any information. It's all like, oh, provides light from 0 to 100%. Yeah. I think it's vital with all videos and information you give to anyone ever is that you show them all the troubleshooting information. That's what I try to do here on this channel. I try to not show, oh, it just simply works, just click and play, plug and play. No, if I know of a better product, I'll tell you about it, especially if it's, you know, affordable. Like, I haven't compared the best hairpieces that have ever existed. I mean, I've heard that there are hairpieces that you can have that are only 2 millimeters long and they look genuinely real. I don't know what conditions and what kind of, how long they look real for. Just look at this, right? I walked away for like, just lay in bed for a while and boom, I just came back and that's all exposed base. I know it was shit and I was dealing with it for a while, but that's unacceptable. Whatever's going on back here, this massive amount of flowing every time I lie on the pillow. I mean, there's no excuse for this to happen anymore, given that I have made the connection of the perimeter perfect. I haven't glued it down nicely because I caterpillared it forward by about 1 centimeter, the whole thing. And that's why I had to deal with this disgrace. I do want it long around the front here, so I have some sort of fringe to play with to decorate my face, which is what hair is for. But I don't want to look like a fucking mushroom and I don't want it sticking out weirdly at the back. However, when it's too short, it's not going to conform to the shape of my skull. And I am confused about what's happening with this crown here. Like, I know I can feel the crown is too high on my head up here. If I cut this further forward and brought it forward, the crown's just going to keep moving more and more forward on the top of my skull. I hadn't ever considered the whole crown problem before. I had to start wearing a full topper, and now it is a growing issue. I'll continue to try to just trim some of this shit. after sliding this whole thing forward and pressing it down hard, the glue is magically holding, but it's holding my eyebrows up. I'll tell you what, I feel like I've got the smoothest forehead I've had since I was 5 years old. If you ever have any wrinkles on your face and you got strong enough glue, I'd recommend, what's that, Sellotape or something? Super glue. If you could somehow use that and just get a hairpiece and just do it like that, you would fucking give yourself a facelift with this stuff. Seriously, the hairpiece itself is got a heap of grasp up here, and it's just grabbing you. And if you put it there, it'll grab you there. It'll pull any wrinkles out of your face. And I would assume that if you wanted to do it around places where, like a neck or any other thing like that, any forearm, anything, you could have fake skin and do it that way, or you might as well just wear fake skin then. This is the problem though. See, I didn't ever want to move to a wig. That was never on my agenda. So I want to avoid having a massive hairpiece. Now when it comes to trying to come in sideways here, and I have been told in the comments by you guys that I've gone down too far, I've shaven down too far. It should be up an inch on both sides. I don't know how I would achieve that and still get the hairline coming in at a good altitude. Because that's the spot where I was at with the front partial. So I don't know, well, if I went up an inch, it would have to come up, and then I'd have like huge recessions, which is the whole reason I started wearing a hairpiece, to get rid of the recessions. I want an equidistant spacing between my eyebrows and here, and my eyebrows and here. If you draw a straight line across, I want it to go right through there like that. That's the best looking hairline. If I went up with big arches and then started making a hairpiece like that, it's not great. I don't like it. What I just did then, chopping off this back bit out of context without proper measuring in comparison with the hairs beside it and everything else, I just wanted to quickly get rid of this problem. This feels like a disposable hairpiece at this point, given that the front hairline has been eroded and it's exposing base, which is highly visible. I'm going to spin the camera around and you can see it close up. This is what my front hairline looks like. I don't know what it looked like a couple of hours ago or whatever, but this is what it looks like now. I've just been lying in bed, trying to sleep, couldn't sleep, watched a whole bunch of religious debates and scientific documentaries and so on. This is what exposed base looks like. Never have exposed base, and never have glue in your hairline either. You've seen, I show you proudly when I have achieved a good hairline. And it can't happen if you've got fucking hairs pulling out too easily, or if, I don't know, if the company has decided to give you graduation, like less hairs at the front and then more later on. That's all a bunch of shit, all right? If you want hairs to look like they're really growing out of your head, you can stick with the V-loop system, because I don't know a better way to put one hair in individually at a time without it pointing it out. Unless it had some kind of hook at the bottom that was invisible. That's probably the best way to go, because the V, like I've shown you in the example of these two fingers not being able to independently move without, you know, the tendons that connect them fucking forcing the other one to go where it goes. If we stuck with V-loops, the roots have to be bleached. Like that bit, that little bit that's under the plastic, that has to be bleached before they seal it in at the factory. You can't do it post. So that's fucked up. And what can I do? Cut it out? I don't know. But now that you're here, you might as well look at the straight lines. You can see all the way through the hair. There's the same straight line problem. The roots need to be bleached all the way through. All the way through. Because one day you'll be lying down, or you'll be a photo of you from, you know, a good camera, or you'll be in a movie, and there'll be a close-up and they'll be looking at the top of your head. I've had people look at the top of my head often throughout my life. Haven't they looked at yours? If you're in a chair and they're standing up, they're looking at the top of your head. If you're in a room with lights or on a beach, God forbid, with a fucking hairpiece with the sun that doesn't tell lies, it's very honest, you're fucked. Okay, so you need bleach fruits. Now, in the case of lace, which I originally started with, it was all lace everywhere. That was all I ever had. Whether it was either Swiss lace with medium light density or French lace with medium density. And the reason I went to medium density is because I was so embarrassed from the glue, the ultra hold, that had melted at like 25 degrees Celsius or 80 degrees Fahrenheit. It was shocking. The glue. It was so shiny. I went to the mirror just to get a drink from the taps, and there was like a mirror there at the beach. I'm like, fuck, is that what I look like? Is that why people have been staring at my forehead? Right? Some people had suntan lotion on and stuff, so they were shiny in different parts of their body and whatever, but exclusively here. And so I started doing this to try to get rid of the glue shine, and the hair's all stuck together. And I wore a hat and it just bound it all together. The glue pushed through the little netting like it was nothing, and all the hair's stuck in through the glue. It was ridiculous. So lace can only work with glue that does not melt, like a water-based glue that does not stick. So I've never found a good glue. Tape Ultra Hold, like I've said, it lasts for about 1 day, after which it remains tacky. So when it fucks up and starts lifting, you can sort of press it back down again. That's the best I can hope for. I've tried the solid bond glues, the hard bond, like the super glue type stuff. No good. I've tried this like latex type glue, fucking shit. It doesn't even peel off properly. And then I tried the like water-based glues like Ghost Bond, absolutely useless, right? I don't know how people can, it's for people who do not sweat at all, Ghost Bond, or any water-based glue. In fact, yeah, I've never had water-based glue last for more than less than -1 second. Never. Had no hold at all, ever, under any circumstances. Thin layers, 1 layer, 2 layers, 3 layers, 4 layers. I tried everything. I was exhausted. My arms were fucking shaking because it'd been above my head for 3 hours. There's nothing you can do if you sweat to make water-based glues work for you. I don't know if you have had an experience that you have been able to overcome that. And don't lie to me. If you haven't got hyperhidrosis or you don't sweat walking up a flight of stairs, you're not a sweater, okay? I thought I was recording for ages and I didn't record. I've tried to cut this down. That's about 1 inch there. I'm thinking I might have to go down to 1 inch back here as well, so that conforms if I'm gonna keep short back and sides, which I really want to have, because I feel spoiled at this point with the breeze and being able to feel, you know, freedom of not having hair all over my fucking ears and neck. But in order to suit this front hairstyle, which I think is a good length, 4 inches here, I like it, and tapering off down to 3, and then maybe, well, I guess down to, if this is 1, I don't think I can get down to 1 on this thing. It'll just look like a doormat. So I don't know what to do about that. I was trying to use this thing without looking, because I haven't got the 8-pound mirror thing set up right now. Just use a handheld mirror. How does that work? Handheld mirror. How the fuck does that work? I can't take advice from most of you. I've had to start from scratch, and this is the same with most things in my life. I can't trust doctors, police officers, anybody, because they've all got this fucking cartoon perspective on the world where everything is A plus B equals C. It doesn't. It equals Z sharp under conditions A1, A7, A9, and B31.2, except on Tuesdays at 6:13 a.m. Reality is very dependent on where on the spectrum things need to coincide with the given circumstances. And so that's why I have to do these experimentations to fucking figure out how to fucking solve these problems. Nobody mentioned the crown positioning to me before I started this. Nobody. I gotta get, but you know what they did mention? Holding a mirror and looking at your own reflection backwards. Yeah, like I didn't know that. It doesn't work. How am I supposed to hold my hair and shave? It will use scissors even. What are you fucking doing? You guys, half the people have said, oh, this is how you shave your head. It's like, yeah, I'm just gonna go and get my wife to come and fix it for me. No. In fact, I think, as far as I've seen, me shaving my head like yesterday to get it clean shaven right around the back with absolute accuracy is probably the best it's ever been done in the history of the world. Probably. I'm happy to report that that ring light that I've been using, probably the one that I need about right now, so I can see what the hell's going on with this nest up here, is able to be plugged in and just kept on. So what I could do, see your own reflection, I could get a, I didn't know if it existed or not, but luckily it does, a power battery pole clip, and then just run the cable to it and just hang that little clip light on here at all times, and then when I bring my phone back in, just hook it on, and I don't have to keep shaking it back and charging it over there somewhere. It's going to be messier though, so it's probably better off just keep a spare one right here in the bathroom, the spare one. Just pull it off, swap it, charge it, put it back on the phone, and then take it off and leave it there and take my phone with me. Alternatively, I could save a bit of time by replacing the C plugs with magnetic C plugs. That should work too. I've never really used them, but I don't really trust that sort of finicky thing, because if the thing's on an angle when it rests on the table, it'll just magnet off. So anyway, I'm going to go without the light for now. I needed a lightweight light, and that solved it. At the moment, I'm going to go without the light. This is a 1-inch, what are they called? I've called them guards, but they're also called some guide combs. 1-inch guide comb, okay? You want to see me talking to you as well? There you go. There you go, you little fuck. What am I doing? I'm turning myself into Simon Cowell. That has got to be the worst haircut I have ever seen in my life. Look at it. Now, if you could feel this awful, awful lump, this cluster right here, this fucking crown cluster where it just goes and holds that position, you would be shocked at how bad it feels. I'm considering going back to the bald spot because of the crown problem. Nobody told me about the crown problem. And I'm going down to an inch, which is against the rules. I just can't imagine anything that's going to be short enough to make this feel normal. The density is just so fucking intense here. It's like, if this is medium density here, this is triple heavy density. It's like straight up against each other, all of them, all the hairs in the world, fucking right there. Oh my God, it has no bend. It is absolutely, that is a fucking rug right there, seriously. And then I've got to try to figure out how to contour that down to 4 inches at the front, which is nightmarish. This is 3/4 of an inch, really breaking the rules now. And these things are incompatible with every other shaver in the world, and you can't find replacements so you can size up to get it like a 2 inch or anything. They're not available worldwide. I've looked everywhere. I feel like with that thing there, I could safely rest like a 200-degree fucking boiling pot of fucking stove hot shit right there, and it wouldn't heat up my head. The insulation, the padding's like fucking this. And it doesn't matter how it looks, it just feels like a massive lump. It's awful. It's just awful. It's fucking terrible. It doesn't feel like, this whole thing just feels like shit. It's like there's a giant, it's like a bird nest or something. I don't know. I'm gonna make it even shorter because that's just nonsense. 3/8. That's 3/4, so that's 6/8. I'm going down to 3/8. This is half. Alright, that's, I would never do that. But I just hate this fucking lump thing here. I can't even lie on the pillow. Alright, this is really cool. I need light. This light is barely heated up. The one thing I don't know about this is if the battery is not full and I leave it on while it's charging, did it charge as well as being lit? I don't know. Visibility. Look, I'll just give myself a bald patch. And even so, it feels like shit. It feels just awful. Come closer. Look at it. You can see it clearly now, right? You can see the thing, this fucking thing they put here. That is not like the rest of the hairpiece. This is an abomination. Fuck. It's just awful. What the hell? What bad workmanship is this? That is shocking. And that's on all of them. That's on fucking all of them. This fucking crown thing. This change of direction thing. Oh my God. It's just so bad. And you can see how I need coverage to make sure that nobody ever sees the perimeter joint or anything. And that's shocking, isn't it? I'm gonna be careful not to shave off my good hairs in this whole outrage moment I'm having. This is 3/8. What is going on? Seriously, it's just horrific. It just feels, no matter how long it is, that's kind of smooth, right? It does stick up badly and all that sort of stuff, but this, and here as well, it just, especially there, God. That is lazy fucking workmanship. That is absolutely disgusting workmanship. Fuck. Look how bad that is. Seriously. Now, unfortunately, this light is not bright enough to get the job done. That's why I've been looking at other ring lights. You can't see clearly, I know. I'll flip the camera just to make sure that you do get visibility at this thing. It's worse than alopecia. Try this light. Not really designed for this back-facing camera, but wow, just awful. That's what happens when you cut your hair shorter than an inch on a hairpiece. No root bleaching whatsoever throughout the entire industry. Which fucking camera are you? That one maybe? Yeah, you. And now I've discovered they do this as well. Is that even the same color? I don't even know. It's just so bad. It feels awful, no matter what the length of the hair is. It's just the way it's sewn in. It's fucking terrible. I can't live like this. I'd rather be bald. I'd rather be bald than have this fucking thing on the back of my head. Seriously, the way that this hairpiece has fallen apart and the one before that I threw away, $130 each. That's with a bunch of discounts as well. Yeah, I can't ever make this short like this. that's let that be a lesson to all of you. Don't ever cut your fucking hairpiece short. No, 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 no. It's just fucking awful. It's not just about the way you look. I didn't realise how uncomfortable a hairpiece could be until now. I didn't know it was even possible for a hairpiece to be uncomfortable. It usually doesn't feel like anything. No itching, nothing. But this one, just having that lump, like even now I can feel it straight away, boom, like this fucking thing sticking out of the back of my head. Unacceptable.
Which phone number? Contact or device do you want to call?
Alexa, stop. I don't want to call anybody, you fucking idiot. Stop listening to me. Alright, I'm fucked. Alright, that's 260 down the drain. We've got four more chances, and we know they're all the same issues. All of them. They're gonna shed like crazy at the front hairline. They're gonna have a giant lump at the back here. And I'm gonna have to conform whatever it is down here. Hopefully, when I take this off my head, it can provide the correct stencil size. That seems correct. Now that it's stretched, maybe I should oversize it a bit. That all seems mostly correct without any overhang or gap. And mostly that will be mostly correct as well. I wasn't even fucking bald back there. I don't know why I did this. The front partial bump, that's why, because hairs fucking stick up, don't they? They stick up. Let's discuss reinventing hairpieces now, because it looks like I'm maybe probably just going to be doing this by myself, but straightforward, isn't it? You need hooks. If you're going to come straight out and you want to be able to brush left and right, forward and back, diagonal that way, diagonal that way, diagonal that way, diagonal that way, or straight up, whatever you want. Step number one, it can't be connected to another hair that's locking it into its motional trajectory. It needs to be free to move in the direction it wants to move. How is that possible? There's no room for roots, is there? Well, there is. I mean, look here, right? Every V-loop has got a root about that long under the poly. They stitch it through and then they seal it. Now, instead of doing a gigantic V, you could do a massive L with a little root. That could hold. And you could maybe even tie it in a knot at the base, or dip it in some kind of glue so there's a little bauble exactly the same size throughout all of them. Miniature, totally miniature, unfeelable. It'd be soft and it would cling tightly to the hair at the base, just like a follicle. So you're making an artificial follicle that will fit within the 0.03 millimeter encasement. You don't want lumps all over the place. You don't want to feel uncomfortable. Number one, you want it to be totally brushable in any direction without any of that fucking, oh, we sewed it this way, and then at the crown you've got to change directions. And why? Just let it be brushed any direction. You should be able to have a fucking sheet a kilometre squared, and the whole thing can just billow around like grass, like natural hair does. Well, my natural hair does. I'm not going to shave in a particular direction to shave it out, but I'm just saying you could improve upon natural hair by making every hair totally movable, like a blade of grass. Yeah, I know grass has roots and it holds it in. And we've only got a very thin layer, the thickness of paper to make a root system. I know that. The hairs are currently being wedged. We need to stop them from being wedged. If there's no neat way to make a hair bend at such an angle where if it's coming this way and then it bends that way, it's always wanting to lean that way, then we can't brush it that way. And it doesn't matter if it's a short L or if it's a long V, it'll still be forced to go that way because the beginning of its root system is coming from that direction. So we need to reinvent the root system. Now there's injection. I think it's a minimum of 0.08 millimeter thick base so that it has more grasp on the root of the hair. And I don't think they put anything on the root of the hair. It's just a hair that's clung to simply by liquid poly. I don't know, maybe they just inject, I didn't watch the video of how they make injection. It's not injection molding, it's injection something, injected hair, I don't know what it's fucking called. I've had some before, it didn't work, it was shit. I don't remember why it was shit. I think the hairs fell out and it wasn't as brushable as they claimed. I think it was almost like up like a brush and no direction was any good. And maybe it was density was too much and they were pushing against each other, preventing each other from falling in any direction. But it certainly wasn't a solution where you could trim it down to like a 2 millimeter haircut or something that makes it look real. For a start, it's 8.08 meters. Along the front, you'd have a massive shadow. It would look like the way you cut that fucking base and the way you stuck it down on your forehead. It would be a big shadow. But they've got the right idea. It's good that it exists. Or maybe it's not so good because now it seems like they've tried that and it failed and now they're going to give up on it. When really it's the main answer. V-loops are forced in one direction, which is why they need the fucking crown to go, we're going in all directions, yay! You're going in one direction each and you must stay that way and it's fucking everything. And you position it like really close to the front hairline, 7 inches from a faulty, probably graduated, fucking all the hairpiece, all the hairs fall out. Do I have a massive head? I think it's a standard sized head. I don't think my head would hold lots of heads inside it. I think if you took my head, it would weigh about the same as other people's heads. I just have heaps more neural connections, that's all. This is subconsciously making me feel itchy there, even though there's no reason to feel itchy there. There's nothing happening except for the fact that I see this giant fucking, what looks like a disease happening right here, about 1/2 inch forward of my crown, which is the fake crown. Let's see how far off the crown is from my real crown. Okay, so my shave zone starts here, and we know that's the outer edge of my real crown. So my real crown is there, right there. And where's the center of this one? Up here. So my one's there, and the real crown for them starts up here. Okay, where this, you can even see through, I mean that's glue missing, but it's a different stitching pattern around here. And you should be careful about all this because in the mirror, it looks fine. I mean, I just feel it's bad. And I know that people with eyes see something very different to this auto exposure thing that happens on an iPhone. I think if I drag my finger somewhere along the screen, maybe it'll do exposure settings maybe, but maybe not. I don't know how to bring up the exposure settings without looking at the screen, and I can't while I'm mirror maybe. So look in the mirror, click the screen somewhere. Oh no, that's just the zoom level. It's not exposure at all. There might be exposure settings on an iPhone. Well, definitely probably would be on an iPhone 15. Probably just on the back facing camera, not the front facing camera. Oh well, time for trying another hairpiece. Maybe in a couple of days, might be fucked.